This show is intended for mature audiences. Topics of adult content, triggers, and explicit language may be discussed with or without warning. All thoughts and opinions belong to our hosts and do not reflect the original creator's own intentions. Spoilers for the book will be discussed, and while most discussion will revolve around the picked book, we do not guarantee there will be no spoiler warnings for other books or series. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Biblio Madness, a podcast for book lovers where we discuss our current and favorite reads. I'm your host, Rachel.
And I'm your host, Laken. So today we are jumping back into the Crave universe, and we're on the third book, which is Covet, and that's the one we'll be discussing today. So, do you want to give a brief, summary overview of what Covet is kind of is?
Okay, so in the Crave series, we went through Crave, and that one made us crave more. So then we went through Crush, and that crushed our souls.
Yes.
And now we're on Covet, which for us, we have both read a lot of fantasy reads. We know that a book out of the group is going to have to create a world.
Yeah, so I said this a while ago that, Crave and Crush had really good pacing with everything, and normally I was predicting this, which, I don't know. I think the pacing was still good in this book. It was a little slow in the beginning, but that's where we're going. The third book, if you have a longer series, often you delve further into the world and the characters, so it can feel a little bit sluggish and a little bit slower. But that's definitely what the first bit we're seeing in Covet is. There's a lot of character and relationship building, and then she gets further into her world building as well.
Which is I don't think at any means it's a bad book.
No, I don't think it's a bad book either.
With what I've experienced in the past with series, I've gotten a bad book in a series.
Yeah.
Now, this is good. We just got really spoiled with fast pacing where it felt like we were speed reading.
Yeah, flying through the book.
To where we got to this book, which I think is just a normal, it's a good speed, but it's not compared to the past
It's not
books.
Slowly paced. Compared to the other two, it might feel like that. If you're reading them back to back, like we did. But it has more intimate, I feel, and slower moments within the scenes.
I would agree.
She sets.
Because they have to make a lot more character relationships, character development, and then they also have, all of the world, because they're finally getting out of the high school.
We meet, so like you just said, we were finally getting out of Katmere in this book, and we meet, and we have relationships with a lot of other characters outside of her school, and outside of the other, factions and races that she's used to as well.
And now we're dealing with more royalty.
Yes, this is
and
starting
politics.
To get more political, because our Grace is set to be the Gargoyle Queen.
Yep.
So she's starting to, realize that she kind of has to know court politics.
And Hudson's set to be the king,
Yeah.
So they got to figure that ish out. Yeah. But before we get into all of our thoughts and opinions of the book, everybody grab a cozy drink, drinks whatever your choice is, hot, cold, alcohol, non-alcohol. Get a comfy drink, get a snack, sit down. We're going to hopefully make this maybe 40 minutes long. We'll see what happens.
We're going to try not to make this a mega episode like Crush was.
Crush was a mega episode because Crush was a mega book. It was a great book. Covet is also a great book, but there's so much that happens. If we try to go into detail, we're going to have a 4-hour episode on our hands.
Yeah, this episode is probably going to be more of just us hitting small points, and we're not going to delve too much into the individual scenes that go through this, because there's a lot.
There's a lot that happens in this book, but it is a beautifully written book.
Yes.
So, hello everyone from YouTube and or Spotify podcast or Google, Apple podcast. Thank you for listening. Now to go into our fun times of Covet.
Yes.
The world building book, I would say, currently, out of the 3 we've read.
Definitely out of this one so far, it's been the most detailed in aspects of world building and character building, like I said.
So at the end of Crush, which I feel like is a good place to start, to then go into why we're saying character building so much. At the end of Crush, Hudson's like,
"You're my mate.
You're my mate. Get your hands off my mate."
Get your hands off my mate.
To Jackson.
Yeah, so the book immediately starts off with this brother bashing.
Oh, God. My heart during all of that was...
Yeah. Oh, also, to preface this, Hudson is student at Catmere.
Yes.
He has to finish his, like, senior year out because he missed some stuff. You know, being killed and all.
Dying. But also, I thought, and I don't know if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, I thought Hudson was supposed to be in his 20s. Like, 20s vampire years.
So, too, I thought so as well.
And then Jackson's supposed to be 18, and then he was in high school, and I was like, did Hudson get laid back? Like, did he get
He got, like, pushed back, I think, because they said something about his, like, private tutoring that he had through his parents.
Yeah.
The credits didn't transfer or something, so...
The credits didn't... Wow.
He had to
That's
make...
such a school excuse. That's the most school excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah, sorry, your credits didn't transfer. We don't actually know if you did.
The school says you took the classes, and they say you were there, but the credit for it doesn't transfer. So,
so for him to be able to graduate, because he never typically he didn't actually graduate, so. Yeah.
So we're going in with that whole situation with Grace, Jackson, Hudson, and this weird triangle, but I say it's a square, because I'm still staying strong on my Flint theory.
Yeah.
It's not going away. I am
only leaning more towards your theory as we read this book.
She's like, I think you got spoilers. I'm like, I did not look up anything on this book.
Listen, everything's just falling like, because when you first said that to me, we were reading Crave.
Yeah.
This was before Crush, and I was like, there's no way. I don't know how you got that. Like, maybe he is, because he's too perfect, but like, with Flint, how would that work?
My radar was like, you are familiar to me. How do I know?
I was so not on that page. I thought it was so far-fetched, and then as we have went through Crush and Covet, like,
I'm just waiting for it to come true.
The pieces have just fallen into place.
I'm waiting to hear you go, you were right.
I'm probably going to end up saying that. Here is, right here, everyone mark this. This is me saying that. I'm probably going to end up saying that by the end of this, because it's only leaning more towards it, and the things that happened at the end of Covet,
I'm crushing on them. I want it to happen.
I want my man to be happy, okay?
You want Jackson to be happy. But he's like a son to you at this point.
He's not going to be happy with anyone else. I can see that.
No.
So.
God, no. My heart.
Man, this is...
The Covet had just stolen my heart and made me sad throughout the whole book.
Yeah. So, yeah, this book did succeed in making me cry. Like, actual tears were shed.
So many tears.
At the end.
See,
the last 100 pages.
I didn't cry at Jackson's death.
Yeah, so... Oh, yeah. So,
it's a spoiler.
Spoiler. Jackson dies in the end.
Yeah.
There's
a disclaimer in the beginning of this video, so if that didn't get you off the tip, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you already made that mistake.
Yeah.
But
I sobbed, I ugly cried. I had to close the book for a second before I continued reading.
She doesn't pull punches. I'm scared to read one of her adult books.
Yeah.
At this point.
She did. So, yeah. And Jackson did come back. So, and the reason he came back is because Flint's mom gave him her dragon heart, which essentially means that she can never shift into her dragon form again. Which I think will really pull in some interesting political, like,
I didn't
points.
even think you were going that route with that word that you were trying to say.
I don't know.
I thought you were going and now you got me all tongue-tied.
Sorry.
Now I can't say it. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, because now there's a dragon queen that doesn't have her dragon.
I don't think she's going to stay the dragon queen.
I don't think
she's
so
going to get challenged.
Either. I think we're going to see some really interesting dragon politics in the next book or two.
Oh, yeah. I already started.
Yeah.
You haven't.
I haven't. So she went ahead and started Court, and I haven't. But it's obviously called Court. There's going to be a lot going on with the political intrigue. In this book.
I'm curious because, like, all of these books are really leaning in on their titles. Like Crave, it was very leaning into Crave. Crush was leaning into Crush. Covet, I would say, does lean into the Covet title because of the coveting between Hudson and Jackson.
Yeah, I think that's it. The envy between them of Grace.
I'm gonna look this up. You keep talking.
Definitely. But anyway, so like what I was saying about your theory with Jackson and Flint. Now Jackson has a dragon heart. So I think it would make it more possible for, like, the mating bond to finally click into place for them.
I think the mating bond should.
Now he has a dragon heart and a dragon.
Okay, so
and his soul has been repaired. So
I know. Going into the definition of covet, because I did not know. I know the meaning, but I don't know the exact definition. So to yearn to possess or have something. He covets time for her. So Hudson's coveting time, and so is Jackson during the first half of the book. And then you just get Hudson coveting.
Can we speak? Okay. I think the thing that sold me the most on Hudson, because up until this book, I had been very, like, wishy-washy. I'd been kind of half and half. Like, I was like, I still love Jackson so much, and he, like, so desperately loves Grace. Yeah. But I want him to be happy. And he's, like, heartbroken about it. He's so broken over this. But also, like, Hudson, I don't know. The fact that he said at the beginning of the book that he would not make Grace choose between them, he would just lose her. And I was like,
right? It's so heartbreaking. But, like, here, think about this way. Because we know quite quickly within the book, this is a key point with the bloodletter situation. It's like 100, 200 pages in.
Yeah, we find out very, very fast.
Back in the day, you were like, do you remember the bloodletter? I forgot that her name was the bloodletter. I was giving her a different name. I called her Nancy in my head.
Nancy?
Because she was an old lady with curly hair in the mid, and she gets, like, really sweet, and then she gets really mean. So her character was just Nancy to me.
Yeah,
and you're like,
Nancy
do you remember
the bloodletter?
And I was like,
who's the bloodletter?
I was like, who's the bloodletter? I love how you were like, from the first book, silly. No, she's just Nancy to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, saying the bloodletter Ray Jackson, I was like, no, Nancy Rates Jackson. Okay?
Yeah.
She's
Nancy
a chill
the bloodletter.
I feel like Nancy was a good name.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
But, no, like, that happens quite with the first 100, 200 pages. They find out what actually happened with Jackson and Grace's mating bond.
Yeah, it was forged by the bloodletter.
Yeah.
It was like a deal that had been made between Grace's parents and the bloodletter.
Yeah.
And essentially they, kind of sold over Grace's right to, like, choose, like, or to find her actual mate.
Because the destined mate got taken away, and they made, if you choose Jackson to be your mate.
I did like that she had to be open to it, and that it wasn't completely forced upon her. Like, she had no choice to be with Jackson.
But you were a victim of this, okay? Theoretically. You have Jackson in your life.
Yeah.
Then you have Ryan, who's hiding behind everything. Ryan loves you dearly, and he knows he's supposed to be with you. But you see Ryan, you're like, and then you see Jackson, you're like,
what?
My mouth just dropped. Jackson's hot.
Jackson is hot.
Jackson's hot. He's hot. He's nice. He's sweet.
He's gay, apparently.
He's bi. Bi. I'm on the bi boat.
Well, he was with Grace. So.
Even if he ends up with a guy, he's still bi. Because he was with Grace and he loved her dearly.
He's still attracted to Grace.
And he's still attracted to her. But, like, imagine if you were like, yeah, I'm going to pick Jackson. You got Brian over here, like, but hey, I'm here. And that's Hudson.
Oh, well, she didn't know Hudson before she met Jackson.
It doesn't matter. But that was the whole situation because Hudson's just like, oh, dang. But she's still chosen because now, in Jackson's situation, Flint was Ryan. He was back in the back group just like, but I loved him first, but he's never loved me.
I do think...
That's just sad.
Yeah, what we had talked about with their bond being forged, not only did it ever take away Grace's ability to find her destined mate,
it took away Jackson's.
And so Flint and, like, I think in Crush he had talked about how he felt like he had the mating bond with Jackson, but Jackson never felt anything in return.
He didn't say any specific names. So
he doesn't. He doesn't say that it is Jackson, but it's heavily implied.
I am really attached to the fact that Jackson and Flint will get together, and I'm reading this in the tensions that they will, because I think that's where it's going.
Yeah.
If they don't end up together, I'm gonna be mad at Tracy.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing that has allowed this theory of yours, the ship, to to fully, like, come to. Flint lost his boyfriend.
I know.
In the last 100 pages as well. So Flint's now available. Sorry if that's too soon.
Macy, Xavier, Flint with Luca. My whole heart is out the window.
Have you? Okay, so we're definitely talking about characters now.
Oh yeah, we're in character development.
We're a little bit into our ships as well. Macy and Eden.
Oh boy.
So at first,
but
in the first half,
I like Macy and Maggie.
At first half, the first half of Covet, they were leaning towards like Macy and Mecky together, but then towards the end, we were seeing chemistry between Macy and Eden. But do you remember in the first book when Mecky was dying, Grace told him that she thought, or no, it was the second book. I think it was Crush. She told Mecky as he was like dying that after he got injured that she thought he and Eden would make a cute couple because there was chemistry between them.
I'm waiting for the threesome.
Is there going to be a poly between these three?
I would be so freaking... Mecky is a powerhouse.
Man.
But Macy and Gwen are like petite, good-looking girl. This would... I like this idea. She's
setting up the foundation for it because in Crush, we had chemistry between Mecky and Eden. And then for some reason, that was not touched upon at all in Covet. It was between Macy and Mecky and then Macy and Eden.
This book has already broken...
This is a YA series, so we might get touched upon, but I don't know if
Oh, no, it's LGBTQ.
I know, but I don't know if she'd touch upon that. Because I don't know. I feel like even for...
I'm here for a poly. Do it. Girl, it's fantasy. Go for it.
I feel like polyamorous relationships are like taboo.
If they're all mated, I will freak out. Imagine if in this, because we've already broken so many mating bond traditions with this book.
Yeah.
And like the whole string theory is also like but imagine if it was like a triangle and Macy was like mated to Eden, but Eden was mated to Mecky and Mecky was mated to Macy.
Okay, so that... Can I talk? One thing about the love triangle trope is that oftentimes it's not a love triangle because to be a triangle it would have to go all three ways.
Yeah.
That is actually like it would be a true love triangle.
It would be a true love triangle and it would be a true poly relationship.
We'll see how this
because
goes.
Their mated bonds would have been mated to each other, but they would be mated to two people.
Yeah, I am very interested to see where she takes the relationship with Macy because I think she's setting things up. I don't know where she's going with it, and I don't know if this is the direction she is going with it.
I would love this direction. Tracy, if you haven't done this direction yet, and it's not in these books because we know you finished them, maybe do it with another book.
Yeah, do it with another book.
Do that kind of mating idea in another book. Because I'm here for that.
I'm interested.
Because Mecky's, you know my love for Mecky.
Yeah, I think Mecky's my favorite side character.
I love Flint and God, the whole scene with Flint and the whole, Grace blowing up in his face.
Oh, that was a good scene. I was glad it happened.
I was also glad it happened.
That one thing I don't care so much about Grace, and I think it's because I see in myself, is that she pushes her problems away and tucks them away for later.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I'm really glad. I know you don't. I do.
I'm like Eden to a core.
I'm really glad that she had that moment and that confrontation with Flint. So, for those of you that we haven't talked about what we're talking about, when Grace and her friends go to the Dragon Court, which happens, I don't know, but like
halfway, 300 pages. Yeah.
They go to the Dragon Court for this holiday,
which is in New York City.
It's in New York City.
So
bougie
fun.
dragons. And Flint's mom kind of betrays Grace and Hudson, and has Hudson arrested, and Grace blows up on Flint because she thinks he's guilty by association, and she kind of like the repressed feelings of him trying to kill her kind of comes back out. And I'm glad that she had that confrontation with him because I felt like their friendship, I don't know, it didn't feel as genuine anymore to me because Grace still harbored those resentments because she wasn't speaking them, and I know Flint still harbored that guilt but also never spoke of it, so I'm glad that it came to the surface.
It was a good conversation to be had. I know for you didn't like Flint, and you still are trying to like Flint.
I don't not like him. He's just, I don't know. He's not my favorite character. He's an okay character to me.
That makes me. I think I give characters more background than they have.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I am liking him more through Covet, because he's been fleshed out more in Covet.
Yeah,
we've really, with him being involved more and having more scenes. We're seeing more of him.
I think we're going to continuously see more character building of Flint.
I think so, too. I think we could really see some crazy stuff happen with Flint, because where we were talking about his mom. I think some things are going to happen in the Dragon Court.
So you know what we talked about the Dragon Court?
Yeah.
And the fact that the next book's named Court?
Yeah.
And now Jackson has a dragon heart? And if he's mated to Flint, what if Jackson and Flint take the spot on the circle for the dragons?
I'm curious. I think Flint will end
Will
up
they
rising.
take the spot for the dragons, or will they take the spot for the vampires?
That's the thing. That they have a mated pair has to be on the circle. So
I know,
we'll see.
and they're.
Well, the next book will be a very interesting talk to see if our theories and our opinions about this are coming to light.
They've got to be mated at this point, because if they're mated, they have every God. Could you see the power couple?
I can see it.
No one's going to compete against Hudson and Grace. No one's going to compete against Hudson.
I do wonder who would then take over the vampire court then, if both Hudson and Jackson are on opposite courts.
If Mecky,
maybe, but he doesn't have a mate.
And Eden,
we'll see.
The first polyamorous court. You best believe I'm gonna freak out this family.
Cyrus would roll over in his grave to see that happen, and I think I want that to happen only to know that would piss him off.
Mecky taking over. Oh my god!
Not one of his sons that he has groomed his entire life.
Yeah.
Someone that he thinks is lesser, but also that people that aren't vampires ruling the vampire court, he would have a tizzy.
Oh,
he'd have an aneurysm.
So good though, because the fact that both Delilah and Cyrus are vampires kind of makes me mad. So everyone in the court so far is purist. Witches are with witches, dragons are with dragons.
Well, they did say, I think that interspecies mating is not as common. I think Grace has said, not that it's frowned upon, it's just not as common. But we've seen it with Hudson and Grace, so I think that she said that is, it can happen.
I feel like this book, Tracy really did lean into doing a lot of LGBTQ and a lot of biracial relationships.
Good
with species instead. It's a great representation with it, because she's like, love who you love.
Yeah, I speak. I know that their relationship has not been talked about much, but Flint's parents, I adore them. I adore them. I love their relationship so much, because you have Nuri, who is like this. Baddie. I don't know. I imagine her as like this Amazonian goddess.
Yes, right.
With her.
I just see her in her purple gown at the Dragon Court.
Yeah, her long braids. That's what I imagine her with, and then her little redheaded. He's not little, but her redheaded Irish.
I know.
Completely head over heels in love with her.
She's like this. So much. She's not even an Amazonian. She's actually.
She's African American.
She's African American, and she has all these tight curls that she braids, and she's stunning.
She's so gorgeous in my mind. But I said Amazonian only because I imagine her like really tall.
Yes.
And like.
I agree.
Warrior goddess kind of status.
Black Panther vibes, like the warriors from that.
Yeah, totally.
But she has hair because a lot of those warriors. So.
Yeah, totally. I can see that.
And I just think his dad's goofy.
I think so too.
He's so goofy.
He's not talked about enough, but like their relationship, it's so nice.
The whole suit situation at the Dragon Court, where they were like, that's an interesting choice, and then she sees her dress and she goes, oh, it's sparkling.
He had a purple tux or something.
He had a purple velvet tux.
Yeah, and they're like,
and she had in a bow tie, and we're like, red hair with purple,
not a great thing. But he was matching his wife.
He was matching his love.
It was so cute. What are you doing awake? Close your eyes.
Alright, so outside of the relationship, I feel like, we
talked a lot about relationships and the characters.
We're going to stick for relationships for a second so I can make a point about Jackson.
Okay.
Grace and Hudson's relationship is blossoming through all of this. They have some spicy scenes. Not like spicy. I think they're YA spicy scenes.
They're YA. Well, it is hinted in Fade to Black scenes, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely Fade to Black.
Because it's more of, which honestly I kind of enjoy a little bit more, because it's left up to your imagination, because I don't know. What is Hudson doing? Oh, it's very, like, alluded to, but it's very vague about what happens at the Dragon Court with him. She was
asked, like, are we alone? He goes, not yet.
Yeah, I know.
And then it just fades to black, and you're like,
man.
After going he fades all the way to their bedroom, and then it fades to black in the book.
Yeah.
As in, like, the chapter ends.
I just know Hudson is.
Also, if you don't know what fades to black in a book means, it means that it kind of, like, gives you innuendos, and then the chapter comes to an end. And then it wakes you up the next morning. It starts like where things are going, and then
cuts out next morning, like you said.
Yeah, it's a nice cutout, but I like it too. I don't hate it. I do like me some spicy books. Not gonna lie, I got a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not against them.
Quite a few. Don't look at my shelves too much, everybody on YouTube. Ignore them. But I think for this is I want to finish the series before Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
So we're definitely
We've done the first 3 in like a month. So,
but I feel like if we could like kick out Court, Charm, and Cherish quickly, because Cherish is shorter, and so is Charm.
Is it?
Yeah, Cherish is shorter.
Oh, they are a little shorter.
They get. I don't know if it's that they're more tightly bound.
Maybe.
Which
I just come down to print size.
Let on, and then the writing's going to be tiny, and then I'm going to be sad because I'd rather it be a 700-page book with big writing. Also, that's all authors. That's a personal preference because I'm blind and I have to wear glasses. Big writing with longer pages, as long as it's not huge.
Yeah,
like I don't like large text, but like normal sized writing with more pages than versus tiny writing.
I think that's one reason I don't like mass paperbacks.
I don't like Blood and Ash for that. Blood and Ash's writing is small.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's also 700 pages. It's not this one, but like the hard
that
copies.
Is small. Like after reading her.
Yeah, this is the paperback.
Yeah,
the hard copies are impossible to read because they're only 300 pages long versus 500. Yeah. So like that's a personal preference, but my point, what I was getting to, during all of this time for like almost 400, 500 pages throughout this book, Jackson's an asshole.
Yeah, he is. Which we find out there's a reason for it. Like he's losing his soul, and we find out that he's really struggling, and he doesn't like.
So we were just talking about the situation with Hudson and Grace, with them being so lovey-dovey now and back into a relationship. But the whole time Jackson was just being an a-hole throughout the whole progress of this whole book.
Jackson has given his, improvement and his his okay to Grace. He's like, it's okay. Be happy with it.
But like his whole room situation too, that all changed. That made my heart sad.
It broke my heart. So, Grace goes back up to his room sometime after she's like been with Hudson.
Yeah.
And Jackson has all of his books, all of his art, all of his like gallery stuff, his music stuff, all of it's gone, and it's just workout equipment or empty.
Yeah, because he was crushed in the beginning of the book. So during that whole book, he was depicted as weak, and then in this third book, now that Grace is gone, he is truly weak, and now he's trying to replace that whole strength.
His mate, which of course would crush you,
but it's not his true mate.
It's not his true mate, but it's still enough of a mating bond. Like Grace points this out a lot. Like losing Jackson crippled her, right?
Yeah.
She can't imagine what it would be like to lose Hudson, because that's the true mating bond.
Yeah,
like
it's and then the whole tree situation for the blacksmith.
Oh my gosh, I'll touch on that in a second. But yeah, so Jackson is kind of a butt throughout this book, but
the whole time going to the court, going to the vampire court, they go every time.
Yeah, they go to this witch's house.
Yeah,
somewhere in off Hawaii. It's like somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, I think, right? Some island.
Yeah. Are you talking about the gingerbread house?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember her name. What the witch was called. She had some
Crone.
The Crone.
Yes, yeah, because I realized my book has a misprint, and then when they were talking about the crown, somebody wrote the Crone.
Oh no. Yeah, so they went to go see the Crone, which is like this age-old witch. It's really powerful or something.
But she's really pretty.
Yeah, she was. She was described really interesting.
Yeah.
With her hair, like, every hair color.
Yes.
Yeah. But she wouldn't let Jackson inside because she said she doesn't allow creatures without a soul.
Yep.
And then, so
Mackie and Eden stayed outside during that scene.
Yeah. But after they come back to Katmere, Jackson flies at Hudson, remember?
Yep.
Like, this is where the big fight happens, and Jackson's like, don't you touch her, this is all your fault. Like, she's gonna go to prison because she's mated you.
Oh my god.
Pain. My heart was breaking bit by bit for Jackson throughout this book, and then hearing that and his confession to Grace, where he finally confessed to her that he didn't have a soul anymore, and his soul was dying, and that's why he seemed so cold and
That's
apathetic.
so sad. So I love that you're a Jackson fan, and I'm not as much. I leaned into the other characters like Flint and Macy and Mecky, and
I'm a sucker for a tortured soul.
You
which is why I was so torn between Hudson and Jackson. How much trauma can
this
be
is a therapy session for later. But no, I like positive people. That's who I am, because I am the tortured soul. I don't need to be.
I'm a tortured soul too. I just lean further into it, I think. I'm just you're like me.
I lean to the other side, because I like to try to be positive.
I do like I do like happy. I like
happy people.
I have two types of favorite characters. The ones that are they're very sunshiny, but they have a darker past.
Okay.
And then I'm a sucker for the trauma ones, because I don't know if it's a fix him thing or what. I'm a sucker for it.
I think a lot of the times with characters, and this is going into our character conversation, is that with tortured souls and people who have a lot of trauma, there's a lot of relatability.
Yeah.
It's hard to relate and to listen to someone that has never experienced anything and has not lived through trauma.
Yeah.
It is hard to take advice. In our situation, you would not take parenting advice from me.
Yeah.
Even if I was a parenting specialist, you'd be like, you don't have kids. You don't know.
It's hard to say unless you walk that path.
It's hard to understand. I don't understand why I would want to be a parenting consultationist without having kids.
Yeah.
But that could be something somebody leans into, and you're just you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't
just be quiet. You don't understand.
Yeah.
So it's hard to persuade and feel connected to a character if they've not lived through that. So
yeah.
Mecky, I feel in Macy. Macy has had a very nice childhood.
Macy's a hard one for me to understand, because she's very. It's not that I don't like bubbly, go happy people. It's just that I'm not that person. No. So it's like you said, it's a hard connect to, and that's definitely who Macy is. And sometimes people like that, I don't know, they come off too strong to me, and I'm just whoa there.
See,
hold on.
I love a good Macy character. I love the bubbly. I love the go happy. But when it comes to that, along with the go happy and the bubbly, is when I see it, I just see as something that could be hurt. Yeah. With Jackson's savior complex, I'm that's who you need to protect, is the person who's not been hurt yet. And then we're seeing Macy's character grow along because stuff is starting to happen. Tragic things are starting to change her character.
I am so sad for the beginning where Grace was describing Macy after Xavier's loss. I felt so bad for her.
She dyed her hair black, and it hasn't dyed back. No, it's not been a new color.
No, she hasn't. And she kind of lost herself there for a bit. She was. Yeah. Grace said that she wasn't happy. She never smiled.
Even at the Dragon Court, she still wasn't happy. She wasn't dancing. Hudson had to get her out on the dance floor, which also I
love the relationship between Hudson and
Hudson
Macy.
Is such an older brother to Macy.
He is. It makes my heart happy.
Yeah, I know. But also, could you imagine being I could not be a Macy's stamp. I'm not a Grace. My personality is not a Grace. My personality is not that of Macy. I feel I'm more Eden or Gwen.
Yeah.
Or even that of Hudson, Jackson, or Flint. Mm-hmm. One of the guys. I do not feel connected personally to Grace or Macy, but I could not imagine seeing a guy that handsome and him treating me like an older brother.
Yeah, poor Macy. Her cousin.
I'd be fine, but I'd just be
to the school and got all the hot guys.
All of them. So
How
quick.
Unfair.
I would just be are you okay?
Serious?
Alright, fine.
Macy's a better
person. And all my guys die? All the guys that like me die? Fine.
Poor Macy.
Macy, you're gonna get a Polly. You're gonna get a Polly and you're gonna get both. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna get Mecky, who is a very handsome African American man. And then you're also gonna get Eden, who is a gorgeous, gorgeous Asian woman. And I think that's a perfect
I really
trio.
hope that we see more of, because as much as I say that Mecky's a favorite side character, he's not very fleshed out yet, and I'm really hoping that I get to see more of him we have now know for the end of this book that we are going to the vampire court.
Yes.
They're taking this battle to the court.
They're going straight there.
I'm hoping that we see more of Meki and the Order, kind of.
I want to meet Meki's parents.
Yeah.
I don't know why I love Meki so much. I just do. I like a good side character.
He gives off good vibes. He's a good side character.
He is such a good side character.
He's not a favorite character. He's like my favorite side character. He's just a good support character.
And your favorite character is still going strong with Jackson?
No, I don't know.
Are you on Hudson now?
It's very tied, okay?
It's the brothers?
I think I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Jackson from the first book, and just how much he's gone through. It, like, physically pains me to read about him being in so much pain. I just want him happy.
I'm not going to lie, though.
I love Hudson, though.
Hudson has gone through more trauma than Jackson, in my opinion.
Yeah, he has.
Because Jackson's trauma is based off of Hudson. Jackson went through pain because of his brother. Because they were trying to hurt Hudson. That's like if someone took... my husband and tortured him so I would feel pain.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so Hudson, I think I have a relatability to Hudson. There's something in my eye.
He said, yeah.
My child had an opinion about that. With him being the older sibling and how much he, through everything, even though Jackson literally killed him.
Yeah.
Hudson died, so Jackson didn't, through that fight. Because he would have had to kill Jackson. He wasn't doing that, because that's his baby brother. But, like, seeing Hudson's soft spot for Jackson through everything, even though he calls him out on his BS, you know.
It's
he's
hard.
He's a little tough love on Jackson, but he has such a soft spot for him, and that like older sibling relationship, that unconditional love for your siblings. See, I'm the eldest, so I relate to Hudson in that way, and I can see a bit of myself in that with him. I think Hudson is turning into my favorite, even though there will always be a part of me that has a very soft spot towards Jackson, and I think it's because I'm a Hudson, you know?
I was like, I think your favorite character is Hudson because you're more of a Grace, but yeah.
Am I more of a Grace? I don't see it. The only thing I see similar to Grace is the fact that I deal with my problems later, and I bottle things up until it's
Do you have one of those drawers with all your bills?
Yep, I sure do. This is going into, I'll deal with this later.
Alright, so we've gone, again, through a lot of characters, a lot of relationships. Mm-hmm. This book is heavy in character development. Yeah, we even heavy in world building.
Yeah. So, outside of all of our normal characters, which we've talked about, I think we should touch briefly on the characters we meet outside. So, kind of like, we've already talked about the Dragon Court, which is something that happens. But we also go into the Giants.
What's her name? The 13-year-old.
I don't remember there was a 13-year-old giant that had a crush on Jackson. That showed him around.
She was royalty.
I know, I can't remember her name. She wasn't very important.
Something with an O.
Maybe? I don't remember.
Ophelia or something?
I can't remember. Opal? Like, nothing at all in my mind is clicking.
It's okay. Macy and Jackson were with her the whole time.
I skimmed through that a little bit. But yeah, there was world building with the... What did they call their city? I can't remember. It starts with an F. The Firmament. The Firmament.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. We both know I'm going to butcher that.
Whatever it is. So they go to the giant city to speak with the blacksmith's wife, or his mate. Yeah. Because they're trying to get the key.
Is it Freya? Philia.
Yeah. And that wrecked me. That whole situation set up between Philia and Vander, which is the blacksmith that is locked in the prison.
Yeah. I want to talk because the magic in that house. So giants have earth magic. Yeah. So they make cauldrons out of trees.
I thought it was...
so freaking cool.
It was very interesting world building she did with that, with like the magic enhancement of the trees.
That's what I was thinking. It was like the world building and the magic placement on the tree, where the tree was like writing stories.
Yeah.
For the imprisoned mate.
Yeah. So because he was missing out his daughter's lives.
So he was like writing the tree. The earth itself was writing the stories for this giant.
The house
when he came back.
This house that he had built, which actually I think Philia had touched on the fact that the tree built itself into the house. Like he helped build it through.
And the tree was protecting Freya the whole time. It would kick people away, wouldn't let them come in.
Yeah.
Which that whole scene, I was just like, oh my god.
It was just
And also the connection with the gargoyle, because the gargoyle has earth magic, and when they was pushing her up onto the couch but didn't do it for anybody else.
That was cool.
I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Gosh, Tracy, you did a fantastic job.
I really enjoyed
with the magic.
I really enjoyed seeing that depth of the Giants' magic and the characters.
I also think Giants are barely touched on in Fantasyland.
They are.
They're barely touched on.
It's barely a race that's there.
Like, I feel like that was the most I've ever read about Giants.
Probably
in a fantasy book.
Same, I think.
And she did a great job. And it makes because even in those fantasy books, for that section, they were like, Giants can't hide.
Yeah.
And that's why their world...
The earth magic was hiding them in their city.
Because they're so tall and so big.
I don't think we mentioned where their city is. It's in a redwood forest.
Yes.
And these redwoods, which I have never seen the redwoods. I would love to go see the redwoods one day, because I cannot fathom how big they are. He's going crazy. So with all these descriptions throughout the firmament and like the giant city, these redwood trees were making the giants seem like normal sized people.
Yep.
And I was like, how small of a ratio is our squad compared to this? Cause,
so small.
I can't picture it. I
physically
cannot picture how small they are.
Going down the farmer's market and just getting food items.
Just like as big as they are.
Shoot. Oh, jeez. And they were like, I will only half. And they still gave them like half a giant size portion. I was like, you need to ask for like a sample.
I loved how, I don't know, the giants felt very welcoming and
felt very homey.
Yeah, they felt very warm.
But
and homey.
A lot of world building with the giants. Mm-hmm. Then we went into the dragon court.
Yeah, and then we went to the crone, which we've also already talked about,
yes.
I think.
The crone was after the dragon court. So you go into the dragon court first, which is in New York City, which is a lot of beautiful scenery, a lot of oh my god moments. Yeah. And that's where they start developing the gargoyle court there, because she gets that envelope of Google shares.
Yeah, she does. So the holiday that they're there for, that Flint invited them to, is like Wyvern Horde or something. And it really shows off how rich and wealthy the dragons are, and like how well off. I really liked what they did though. Like the dragon court, where they set that up to that they're giving back to their people, to all of the people, to all of the dragons.
It was not just the royalty.
It was not just the royalty that was getting stuff like this. Like everybody was getting something of value, of like great value too. Yeah, and it was really interesting to see that.
Unless you were Hudson, then you just got $1,000.
Yeah, which is still $1,000, but I know it doesn't seem like that much, but like still.
It's the Grace pulling a $3 million worth of shares, and Hudson's like, I got $1,000, guys.
Eden got like some like super expensive motorcycle.
Yeah, she had
I can't remember what it's called.
Iso.
I'm not even gonna try to remember what that was.
I don't know. I thought it was very touching, and they were like, "Is this your version of taxes?" And he's like, "Yeah, without all of the politics and greed and the wealthy getting wealthy."
He was like, "This, it's a give back to our people." Yeah, and I was like, "This is amazing. Like, good for you." Even though you guys kind of made me mad with what you did about Hudson and arresting him,
it was a very political move when they did that, though.
It was.
Nuri was making a political move.
Nuri is a queen in every right.
Yeah, she was not making a move to hurt him. She was making a political move.
She was making a political move. Also, a touch of an emotional political move, because she was still hurting from her son being killed by Hudson.
But she knew what her son did.
Understandable.
I knew she knew. I think she knew her oldest son was siding with Cyrus.
Yeah, I think.
And even though it hurts, it's still emotional.
I did like the confrontation in the scenes that Grace and Nuri have. I think Grace has a lot she can learn from Nuri. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens with them, because I think they will be back, and maybe even a bigger portion later on.
So, outside of the Dragon Court, then we went into the Crone, which is the gingerbread house, the mansion, which I love that everyone was freaking out.
Yeah, they're like, should we go in here?
They're like, should we be worried about an oven? And then Jackson's just soulless and just like, yeah, I think there was a big pizza oven in the back.
Yeah, even though he's cold and apathetic, this boy still has jokes.
He still got the jokes coming out, and they're like, what architecture do we call this? Yeah. It's like the mansion, but it's the gingerbread house.
I loved Hudson's little jab of being, I don't want to be Hansel or Gretel in this story. It was good.
Oh, so good, so good.
That one was a small scene though compared to everything else. They were barely there. But the reason they were there is because I don't even know if we've talked about this. Hudson and Grace are going to prison, right?
Oh yeah.
They know it's inevitable because Cyrus has put out an arrest warrant for Hudson to get him off the plane.
And Hudson could kill everyone.
Yeah,
he could.
He's too good to.
But he won't. And Grace won't let him.
Yeah.
So they're going to jail. They made that decision, even though Hudson's like, let me just.
Hudson wants to go without her. Grace, and it has been touched upon. We see this with Philia and Vander, the giants too.
Yeah.
It tears mates apart to be away for a long time.
Yeah.
They were apart for 1,000 years too. Oh, it hurts my heart. But Grace and Hudson have made the collective decision that they're not doing that. They're going to go in together. They're going to get the blacksmith out so he can make them a key to free the unkillable beast and find the crown. But to do that, they have to get through this. What is it? The cursed prison or whatever.
Oh yeah,
because it has like a curse on it that you have to atone
weird name.
enough. I can't remember what they called it.
It's like I don't remember the name either. That one's.
Yeah.
They said it at the beginning of the book too, because they talked about the prison quite early about them going to prison. Because that's the whole storyline of this book specifically is about Grace and Hudson going to prison.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get the crown. They're trying to beat Cyrus. They're trying to figure out a way so that doesn't happen. And then they all have a deadline. This is a short timeline, just like Crush. It has a deadline of like before graduation, which is only this is a 2 months.
They end up graduating before everything. Well, they end up graduating after I think the Crone visit, right? Because as soon as Hudson graduates, he's arrested.
Yes.
And we go to prison.
Yeah, which they were going to be there anyway. So the graduation happens in the middle of the book, but the storyline, just like Crush, was within a few weeks. It's very quick. It's very fast.
I think the only reason the pacing felt weird in this book to me is because I felt like the book should have ended when Hudson got arrested.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off. And I was like, oh, we're still going on. Prison still has to happen in this book.
Oh yeah, everything happened in this book.
Yeah, and then after
that's why I felt like it was fast paced.
That's when it got quick to me. Is when they went to prison.
Because like we've touched on like a lot of big things in a lot of fantasy books.
Yeah,
it's most of the time like 2 big things and that's it. That's all you get. Like
there's so much that she has masterfully packed into her novels.
Yes,
it doesn't feel overwhelming. But there is so much that's happening in them.
And so much to unpack. So after the prison.
Well, the prison is a whole other thing. So when they're in prison, they meet Remy and Calder. Calder is a manticore, and Remy is a warlock that was born inside the prison. Yeah. So he's a very interesting character. I'm really excited to see more of Remy. I think
there's a book series about him, and we found that out today.
Found out before we started recording.
What was the name of it again? Do you remember? The Inferno.
Are you talking?
Oh, where did it go? The series of. Hold on, I'll have to look it back up. You keep talking while I look this up.
So Grace ends up eventually, in a very roundabout way, while they're trying to get out of the prison. Remy and Calder help them, but she ends up freeing Remy's powers because they had been like trapped and hidden or whatever by his mother. And it's talking about how he has the power to level the prison.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what she does with Remy and bringing him back. I really want to see more about him.
Called Sweet Vengeance. The book cover is a key.
Yeah.
Tracy, I'm going to be buying so many books. I'm going to have the bookshelf just for you.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole section, both of us.
Because, my Harry Potter section is full. In this section, this is all YA. This is middle, but Harry Potter is special in my heart, so it's up a notch versus the middle that's on the bottom. And then YA. I don't have room for Twilight. Twilight's not all there. And then I don't have room for all of Crave, and I don't have room for all of the Cinder series.
Yeah.
But then my fantasy is just...
It's stacking up.
It's toppling over.
This is my influence in your life.
And they're just not... There's not enough space in my bookshelves.
And Crescent City get up there, you're not good. You're going to have, all of that.
I'm going to have to turn this sideways. And I'm going to have to do Throne of Glass like I'm doing these. Like, when I have series... So, for those who cannot see my bookshelves, for my bookshelves, I have very tall shelving, but it's not that long. So, for series, I have to turn them on their backs and then stack them up.
I need to do that with mine.
To make them fit. And I have 5 bookshelves in here right now. And I have 3 more outside of this room.
Yeah. We have a lot of books, guys.
They don't fit.
There's a reason we're doing a book podcast.
I don't know where else to put them at this point. But I'm very excited for that series, and I'm gonna be buying those books.
I'm very interested in seeing more of.
We need to go shopping because
I have no
there is a bookshop that has a bunch of Tracy Wolff's books for like $5. I got the whole Cinder series right there. You can pick up the one behind you. It was $4.
Let's go whenever
$4.
we get the chance.
So
I think we need to touch. So there's so much that goes on in the prison. I don't feel like we can touch about everything.
You touch on what you think's important on the prison, because I'll let you
confusing
lean on that
with their magic system and the way that it's made. I think the main thing we need to touch on though is after Grace and them like get the key from the blacksmith and they're all about to leave.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of the prison?
I'm not saying it. You're in charge of the town of the prison.
I can't remember his name. He called himself Charon, which essentially he's like, the way they described him is like he's an immortal tween. Like he's a 10-year-old that is in charge of this prison, but he's an immortal, so he's a lot older than that. But it's this bratty 10-year-old that is in charge of the prison, and he has made it so corrupted that these people are going. Grace really paints the picture of how awful this place is. Right?
Yeah.
It is psychologically and mentally torturing.
Yeah.
Its inmates.
Yeah.
Because essentially the whole premise behind the prison was that they had to atone enough for the crimes, and then the prison would
allow them. Yeah.
But we find out that even if you atone and reach the point of like atonement, there is this immortal 10-year-old that decides that you don't get to leave because he doesn't want you to. He is like a major power trip or whatever. And so I think that was, oh my gosh, so messed up. Like I read that and I was like, well, I'm because really
you would
annoyed.
think that at first in the beginning of the book when they brought up like you need to go into this prison and you have to basically
they made it
fix what you did and atone for it.
They painted it out like no one ever gets out of this prison.
And I'm like, how? How does no one get out?
And I was like, you have to be able to atone eventually. No matter what you've done, there's a level of atonement. But they've painted it as this prison is you do not escape. No one leaves this prison.
So trying to figure out when I was going into the prison, I was like, how in the heck? Mm-hmm. From where did we start where you have to atone for your past issues?
I thought maybe it was a lie that you had to atone and you were just stuck there.
Yeah. So like the living or like everything that they were getting tortured with.
Yeah.
I was like, how?
Yeah. It's so crazy the magic behind it. Which, speaking of, the crone is the one that helped design the prison. It's her magic.
Yeah.
So she was a little partial to it. That's why they went to her. Because they needed a way to get out. She gave them flowers to escape because they would make them seem dead. And if they were dead, the prison releases you.
Yes.
So, but the flowers didn't work. It only worked on Calder. And Flint ended up carrying her, so she didn't leave.
Also, we didn't talk about that. Flint ending up in prison with them.
Yeah, Flint got arrested too. Because, for trying to kill Grace. For trying to murder the Gargoyle Queen.
Yeah,
which was
Flint.
rich, considering that Cyrus also tried to murder her. He just...
I don't remember who sent...
It was Cyrus.
Was Cyrus the one who put the charges? Of course he did.
Mm-hmm. But he needed to get every major
and I think
player off the board.
By putting Flint in jail, and he knows that Jackson doesn't have a soul, that Jackson's weak because he doesn't have a soul. And then I think Cyrus knows that Flint's made it to Jackson.
Maybe.
So I think he knows that if Flint was with Jackson would get his soul back.
Yeah.
And then
because that's what Jackson had said, that Grace's soul wrapped around Hudson's soul wrapped around Grace's and repaired hers when their mating bond clicked. But Jackson was alone.
Yeah.
Because he didn't click with anybody else.
But yeah, if Flint,
I think the dragon heart will allow that to happen.
I was like, I think Cyrus took Flint away because he could see it.
Yeah.
And he was like, if
Flint
Jackson gets Flint, the royal son with
it was
Jackson.
Also a way of you're very talkative. It was also a way of neutralizing Nuri and Aiden.
Yeah.
Because he put their only living son left in prison.
Yeah.
This prison that
there's so many politic moves in this book.
I'm
very excited.
So after the prison, the biggest thing about this book is the ending, I think.
Yeah.
as soon as they leave the prison, we all think, hooray,
Yay.
we did it.
Nope.
No, never with Tracy is that ever the case.
And Cyrus decided, let's kidnap the whole school.
Yeah, so they get back to Katmere, everything's like on fire, and the school has been trashed, and there's no one. All of the students,
everyone's gone. Macy's
Foster's
dad,
gone.
everyone.
Yeah, so
does anyone know where they are?
No. That he took Flint away for that too. Also, he knew that he would be unable to do what he did with Flint there.
The whole book is rough. There's so much. I think Covet, the whole book, is building up for the next, because we were reading Crave and we were like, how far can this go?
Pretty far, apparently.
And then she was like, Covet was like, we're gonna take this all the way. So I'm curious to see where it's gonna end with.
Same.
What is it? Cherish.
Like,
what's the ending gonna be like?
We have 3 books to go, and I think things are gonna get pretty rocky pretty quickly.
And I'm trying to figure out what do you think the end goal of the books are right now?
The end goal is for Cyrus to be overthrown.
Gone? But what if, like, in court Cyrus is gone and then we have Charm and Cherish left?
I don't know, because right now sometimes authors do that where they distract you with a problem and the over-encompassing bigger problem you don't realize. So that maybe could be the case, but I don't see I can't think of anything that would be over-encompassing over Cyrus and his fact that he's trying to do basically genocide.
Yeah, it's like, well, like, everybody has, there's always somebody.
There's a crown on the picture, on the front of Cherish, and I think that has a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I know.
Because so far, her titles and the pictures that go along with them are kind of hints of things.
I don't know. I'm curious to see where she goes with it.
I think a lot is about to go very wrong.
Alright, so outside of all of the unexpected alliances and all of the unexpected relationships and all of the things that we're seeing continuously grow in the character development, in all of the world building, Court is setting up to be a great book. Mm-hmm. It is set up.
I am
to be so good.
I'm highly anticipating.
And I think that's the same, because you liked Crave. You rated it a 4, didn't you?
Crave was a 4 for me.
And then you rated
Crush was a 5.
A 5. And now you're rating Covet.
I already said this. We haven't went through to our ratings, but I did say before we started that Covet for me was a 4.
Yeah, I would say for me, because Crave was a 5, Crush was almost a 6, and then I would say Covet's a 4.5, 4.5, 5. Mm-hmm. I feel like Court's leading up to be another 6.
I'm scared.
I'm also scared.
I'm scared.
Tracy does not pull punches.
I have been very greatly hurt and saddened by the past 2 books, and there's 3 books to go, and a lot that could go wrong. I think a lot is about to go wrong. I'm so curious to how far they go. I'm very scared for I'm very scared for Foster.
I'm scared for Meki right now. I hope you know this. I watched Luca and Xavier die, and Meki almost died.
Please stop killing off your side characters, Tracy. We love them.
If Meki dies at some point, Laken,
I'll be real sad.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the podcast. Or if Macy
would wreck me.
Macy, Eden, and Meki, I'm connected to. Yeah. Gwen, I don't care about. But Macy,
Gwen's barely there. She's not
Eden,
really in the group
and Meki, if one of those 3 die, I will throw down.
I will say, where we have talked about the fact that Macy is starting to get a little more, things are going wrong. She's getting more trauma.
His eyes are so wide.
You're okay. Just hang on a few more minutes. I'm really scared for Grace's uncle and Macy's dad. I'm scared for him.
Oh, he's not going to make it.
I think the fact that he stood up to Cyrus.
I don't think he's going to make it. I think
he's going to be off.
I don't think he's made it. Do you think Foster would let Cyrus kidnap every student without fighting?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's gone down with a fight.
I think the fact that, first of all, that he stood against Cyrus, and second of all, the fact that everyone at Katmere is gone, I think something's happened to him.
Oh, yeah. Foster's...
Maybe he got sent to prison, too, but they just didn't know it.
Foster's not lucky right now.
I'm very serious about that,
though. I will say, though, Foster wasn't a very strong They didn't give him a lot of background.
They didn't give him a lot of background. I still liked him, though. I still really enjoyed him.
I'm trying to think of another character from another book that he reminds me of, or like a movie that he reminds me of.
My face.
But there's not one like him. Like, actually, perfect. Foster reminds me of Wizardly of Waverly Place's dad.
Oh, the dad?
The dad from that show.
I could see it
the fun vibe, but Macy would be. Yeah. I think Macy would be the youngest in that show if she was one of the siblings. She would not be Selena or the oldest. Yeah,
she would be Alex or what's his face? I can't remember. Justin.
I don't remember his name, but no, the dad that he gives me those vibes, but he gives me those vibes, but like 1,000 times older.
Yeah, I am very scared for the fate of Uncle Foster.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think something has happened to him. So, and I think it's going to be really bad.
I think in the next book, we're going to have a lot more stuff go down.
Probably.
Significantly.
We will see.
And a lot happened in this book. We saw a lot of different worlds. And I'm really excited to see mermaids happen. And I want mermaids and fairies so badly.
We're about to... So we started dipping our toes in the water of outside of Katmere in this book. We're about to really go outside of Katmere.
Because I think in court we're going to get a lot of the other politics. Because there's more than one circle.
This is going to be a very political book, I think.
And I am so freaking excited.
I know politics are your big thing in fantasy.
I love a good politic book. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm a politic girl all the way. I'm like, ooh, give me the politics. Give me your opinions. Let's go.
Yeah. It definitely
piques my interest.
I am excited.
All right, so couple shipping right now for me, still Jackson and Flint. Strong. Holding that strong. She just wants Jackson to be happy. I think Flint can do it. Still holding strong with Grace and Hudson. I think they're fine. I think that we can say in safety that they are fine.
I think if they both make it out of this alive, they're staying together.
Yeah, as long as they're alive. They may even have a kid. We might even see a baby happen.
In an epilogue, please. Please don't do it. Before the series is over, I'll lose it. Because she's only a teenager.
Well, she's 18, but we have Court, Charm, and Cherish. It could jump a year. It could jump years. We could get to Cherish and it jumps years.
Oh, what if they do like an ACOTAR thing where Cherish is not at all about Grace and Hudson? I'll be real sad.
I don't know.
I'm too connected to not have their point of view anymore.
I don't know. I would take a Jackson and Flint. Or a Mecky Macy Eden.
You guys also, if anybody is reading along with us or has read this, please let us know your theories and your opinions on these relationships, because we have so many.
It's making my spooky heart really happy because I'm going to New York soon, and after reading about New York and the Dragon Court,
you get to picture the Wyvern Horde happening.
I'm so excited. I'm just thinking I'm going to be looking up in Times Square thinking, ooh, the dragon? you up there? So where's the Marriott? Should I go? What room number was that again?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe we just booked that hotel room number. But very excited for that. So after the log thing, very excited for court. We'll be posting that in 2 weeks probably. We all do a in between episode. We got to read it, guys. Give us a second. But thank you for listening. Definitely comment all your thoughts and opinions about the series. I need friends with the Crave world.
We do.
It's very small. The Crave world is so small.
The fandom is
We were
very,
getting
very
in a lost of fan art earlier before the podcast.
We're
trying to find people that look like it.
If you guys have fan art of this, please send it to us.
If you don't, read the books, make some fan art. If you're an artist, we need some. Badly.
Need some better representation.
There's not good representation currently of these characters. They're too beautiful to be written.
Yeah.
And I think one thing gets distracted with beauty is it has to be imperfect. Beauty's not perfect. Beauty is imperfect.
That's the problem with the AI generated stuff.
It's too perfected.
It's not human enough.
No, it's lost its human touch. Yeah. But thank you for listening. We are very excited to continue doing our podcast every single week now. Yes. No more holidays. I know we missed an episode last week, so you can catch up on our episodes if you haven't listened to them all. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow, like. Don't forget to catch us on Instagram. We are trying to get better at TikTok. They're just not either of our strong suits, but we're learning, and we're trying to do it in the process. Do you have anything you want to add?
I think not really. Just happy reading to everybody. If you're following along with us on this journey, we're really, really excited to share it with you.
I'm very excited to see where this ends because I do not know where we're going.
Me either.
I know there's a lot happening, and the court is very, like, in a very interesting place.
This is a big anticipated book for us next.
But I'm very excited for court and finishing off the 6-book series. So everyone have a great night. Happy birthday if it's your birthday, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.